Good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Himali, good evening. Sindhu, good evening. Dilip Kumar, good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Mishra, yes. Good evening, everybody. Am I audible to everyone? Yes, good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Yes, Shai, good evening. Yeah. So, welcome to this 30 days masterclass on Java full stack. So, this is going to be a 30-day industrial learning activity. Once you are going to invest 45 minutes every day, so you will become a master in Java. So what you're going to see in this 30 days masterclass? So firstly, I will be discussing with you about Java. What do you mean by this language? So why we have to go for this programming language? So I will be discussing with you about this Java language. So I'm going to discuss with you about OOPS concept. So what do you mean by OOPS concept? Anybody can tell me? Yes, good evening everybody. Yes, Ramya, good evening. Yes, what do you mean by OOPS concept? What do you mean by OOPS concept? Yeah, so I will be discussing with you about different types of OOPS concept, and then I will be giving you some introduction to HTML. What do you mean by hypertext programming, hypertext markup language? What are all the different types of tags and attributes available in HTML? And then I will be giving you a brief introduction to servlets. What do you mean by servlets? I will be discussing with you about different servlet concepts. And I will be discussing with you about MySQL, the database, how to interact with MySQL, how to create database, how to create tables, drop tables. And I will be discussing with you about JDBC, how to connect Java with the database. And finally, I will be discussing with you about how to build some web applications using Java. Yes, what are the different types of OOPS concept? Anybody can tell me? What are the different types of OOPS concept? Please respond. What do you mean by object-oriented programming systems, and what are the different types of OOPS concepts? Yes, classes and objects. Yes, I'm going to discuss with you about inheritance, polymorphism. So this is what we are going to see in this 30 days masterclass. This is my agenda. So firstly, I will be discussing with you about Java, what is the use of identifiers, data types, and then I will be discussing with you about comments. So what is the use of package, access modifiers? I will be discussing with you about different types of that is abstract class interface. So I will be discussing with you about different Java concepts. And after that, whenever we are going to develop any website, I will be discussing with you about HTML. What do you mean by hypertext markup language? What are all the different types of tags and attributes available in HTML? And I will be giving you some introduction to servlets. What is the use of going for servlets? So I will be giving you servlet, HTTP request and response, exception handling, database access. And then I will be discussing with you about MySQL. So what is the use of this database, how to create database, drop database, data types, drop tables, insert query. And then I will be discussing with you about JDBC, Java database connectivity, how to connect Java with the database. And finally, I will be discussing with you about how to develop some web applications using Java. So this is what we are going to see in this 30 days masterclass. So I will be discussing with you about some projects like public auditing, cloud concepts, counseling management system, software puzzle, crime management system, secure multi-owner data sharing. So this is what we are going to see in this 30 days masterclass. So all the projects I am going to illustrate in NetBeans. So without any delays, let me just start. You are clear with the agenda? Yes, abstract class, inheritance. Yes. So what is Java? So firstly, I am going to discuss with you about what do you mean by this programming language. So and then I will be discussing with you about why we have to go for. So what do you mean by Java? So it's an object-oriented programming language. So today many languages are used. Basically we have two different types of programming language. So one is called as a high level programming language and one more is called as a low level programming language. So what do you mean by Java language? So it is an object oriented programming language developed by Sun Microsystems and released in the year 1995. So it is platform independent. It can run on any platform. So it can run on any OS. It can run on Windows operating system, Linux OS. So it is platform independent and it is mainly based on the OOPS concept, object oriented programming systems. And it can be combined with other technologies like Spring, Hadoop and Android. So basically what do you mean by Java? So it is an object oriented programming language developed by Sun Microsystems and released in the year 1995. So whenever I'm going to discuss about this programming language, everything is going to be based on classes and objects. It can be combined with other technologies like Spring, Hadoop and Android. So why we have to go for this programming language? Basically, I just gave you some introduction. So what is Java? So next I'm going to discuss with you about why we have to go for this programming language. So why Java? So easier to code. Coding can be done at a faster rate. So more secure than other programming language, and it supports some multi-threading capabilities. That is, it can handle more than one request at a time. So all these are the major reasons why I have to go for this programming language. It supports method reusability. So a method can be written only once and it can be reused anywhere in the program. So code reusability or modular programming. So what do you mean by multi-threading? So all these are the major reasons why I have to go for this programming language. For example, whenever you are developing some website, today everything is becoming online. So you can consider an online e-commerce industry, or you can consider an online banking management system, a hospital management system. So everything is becoming online, a restaurant management system. So why I have to go for this programming language? So all these are the major reasons. So it supports multi-threading. It can handle more than one request at a time. And it supports method reusability. A method can be written only once and it can be reused anywhere in the program. It results in the reduction of code size. And other features of Java like polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance. So all this makes the programming language more robust and efficient. Clear with this? So what are the different types of OOPS concepts? So I'm going to discuss with you about what do you mean by an abstract class, what do you mean by encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. So all this makes the programming language more robust and efficient. Yeah, executing, correct. Any more answers? Executing more than, yes, it has all these capabilities, multi-threading and modular programming. So supports method reusability. And scalability. So whenever I want to achieve some sort of scalability, I can increase the resources such as RAM size and CPU. So memory management. So all these are the important reasons, features why I have to go for this programming language. So next I'm going to discuss with you about the reasons to learn this programming language. So why I have to go for this programming language. So what are the major reasons? So it's one of the hottest programming language in today's world. So you can consider everything, any online website. So Amazon, Flipkart, e-commerce industry, online buying and selling, it is growing at a very, very fast rate. So it's one of all the website developments, everything is developed using Java language. So it's one of the hottest programming language in today's world, and millions of applications can be built with Java programming language. So it's used in a variety of industry. It can be used in technical industry, government industry, finance, healthcare, insurance, education. So it can be used in a variety of industries. So everything is becoming online. So you can consider an online banking system. You can consider a healthcare. So insurance, education. So it can be used in a variety of industries. So the entry-level salary of a Java developer is $59,053, and with more experience, the salary can exceed $100,000. So Java developers make more money. So these are the major reasons why I have to go for this programming language. Clear with this? So what are the different types of applications that can be developed using this Java language? So till this part everything is clear. So I just gave you some introduction to Java. So why I have to go for this programming language? Yeah, it's going to result in the reduction of code size, and I'm going to give some faster outputs. Yes, all your answers are correct. So till this part whatever I'm speaking, everything is clear. So next I'm going to discuss with you about the components of Java. So all these are the different components of Java. So firstly, I'm going to discuss with you about JVM, Java Virtual Machine. So what do you mean by this virtual machine? So it provides an environment for executing Java programs. So whenever I want to execute any kind of Java program, so everything is developed using the NetBeans IDE. So I can go for JVM and JDK. So what do you mean by this JDK? It is a software development environment, Java development kit. So whenever I want to execute any kind of Java program, so you require all these components. So first you require this JVM, Java virtual machine. And second, you require this JDK, Java Development Kit. It contains the compiler, debugger, and other classes in order to compile and debug a software program. So and then I require a JRE. So it provides a runtime environment in order to execute the Java programs and other applications. Java runtime environment. So whenever you want to write any kind of Java coding, so you require all these components. So all these are the important components of Java. So first one is the JVM, Java Virtual Machine. And second one is the JDK, Java Development Environment. And third one is the JRE, Java Runtime Environment. So it's used to execute the Java programs under the applications. So clear with this, so what are all the different components of Java? So I'm just discussing with you about what are all the different components of Java. So next I'm going to discuss with you about some of the applications. So what are the different types of applications? So as I was telling you, right, end-to-end you can develop some front-end pages. So whenever you consider any kind of website development, so JSPs, Java server pages. So all my front-end pages, for example, you can consider some e-commerce industry. So whenever a new customer is logging in, so I need to collect the customer details. So I require a customer registration form. So whatever is the name of the customer, so what is the customer, that is date of birth, and some other details I want to collect. So everything is developed using different types of HTML elements. So what are the different applications of Java? So mobile app development. So Android app development, Android Studio, it uses Java for developing Android applications. So most of the Android applications are built using Java language. So mobile app development. And desktop GUI applications. So all these are the different applications of going for this programming language. So I can develop a GUI, graphical user interface application using Java. So it provides AWT, Abstract Window Toolkit, Java FX, and Swing for developing GUI based desktop application. So all these are the different applications of this programming language. So Android operating systems, today smartphones are growing at a very fast rate. So the most popular Android app development IDE, Android Studio, it uses Java for developing Android applications. And desktop GUI applications. So whenever I want to develop some GUI application, desktop GUI application, so it can be developed using Java language. So it provides AWT, Abstract Window Toolkit, Java FX, Swing. So all these are the different types of frameworks for developing the GUI based desktop application. And web based application. So for example, it provides vast support for web development to servlet, JSP and struts. So all these are the different types of applications that can be developed using this programming language. So most popular frameworks, I can go for Spring Framework, Hibernate, Spring Boot. So all these are used for developing web-based applications. So a variety of applications can be developed using this programming language. So clear with this, so whenever you consider any kind of web application, so I'm going to discuss with you about some application development using this programming language. So firstly, I'm just giving you a brief introduction to this language. So all my front-end pages are written in HTML. So whenever I want to add some dynamism to my HTML pages, I can go for JSPs, Java server pages. Clear with this, so what is the use of JSPs? And from JSPs, it can go to the servlets. So all my business logic are written inside the servlet and then it is being saved in the database. And game development. So all these are the different types of applications that can be developed using this Java language. Clear with this? So, So it's used by game development companies because it has the support of open source. So all these are the different applications of Java language and big data technology. So Hadoop, that is HDFS platform for processing and storing big data applications. It is written in Java language. So big data technology. So all these are the different applications of going for this programming language. An IoT application, Internet of Things. So what do you mean by Internet of Things? What do you mean by Internet of Things? Servlets, Yadav. So whenever I want to write some business logic, so I want to fetch some form elements. So when you consider any kind of website development, for example, I am collecting some employee details, or I am collecting some patient details. In a student portal, I am collecting some student details. So what are the different details a student form may contain? So a name of a student. So what is his department name, department ID, semester marks. So I want to fetch all my form elements in the servlet. So it is used for processing the data. So whenever I am collecting some elements from my form, so all my business logic will be written inside the servlet and it will be saved securely in the database. Yeah, Internet of Things. Yeah, so it connects the devices and communicates with them. So you can see it can be used in hospitals, healthcare, smartphones, wearables, smart lighting. So there you can use Java language. So all these are the different applications of going for this programming language. Clear this? So what are the different applications of going for this programming language? The first one is the mobile app development. So second one is the desktop GUI application. So whenever I want to develop some applications, desktop GUI application, web-based application, gaming development, big data technology, IoT applications. So all these are the different applications of going for this programming language. Clear with this? So what do you mean by Java language? I am just giving you a brief introduction to this programming language. What do you mean by Java language? So till this part, whatever I am speaking, yeah, Internet of Things, yeah, good answers. IoT is Internet of Things, that is connecting. For example, inside a hospital through sensors, I want to know what is the patient status. It will be connected to the main hospital. So Internet of Things. So far, I'm going to use NetBeans IDE in order to execute all my Java programs. You can use NetBeans or you can download Eclipse as well. So whenever you want to download NetBeans IDE, just go to Google. Just type NetBeans download. You can just go to Google. So you can give NetBeans download for Windows. And you can download, for example, 8.2 version of NetBeans and you can just start using this NetBeans IDE. So there is a download option. So you can download NetBeans IDE and you have to install, you have to install JDK and JRE as well. So Java Development Kit and Java Runtime Environment. So whenever you want to download JDK, just give here as JDK download for Windows. So you can go to Oracle SC downloads and you can download JDK and you can start using them. And you have to download JRE as well and you can start using them. Clear with this? So what is the use of NetBeans IDE? So you have to download JDK and JRE. So far I just gave you some introduction to Java. So what do you mean by Java? So why I have to go for this programming language? So next I am going to discuss with you about the core Java concepts. So what do you mean by variables? So firstly I am going to discuss with you about variables. What do you mean by variables in Java? So they are used to store the values. So variable types, they determine the memory required to store that variable. So whenever I'm going to start with any kind of development, so firstly you should understand what do you mean by a Java variable. So what is the use of going for this variables in Java? So they are used to store the values. So variable types, they determine the memory required to store that variable. For example, this is the data type and then the variable name. So whenever I want to initialize any variable, so you have to give the data type followed by the variable name. For example, I want to store some integer value. So I'm just giving the data type as integer and then the name, whatever is the variable name. So I'm just giving here as count. Clear with this? So what do you mean by variable and how to declare variable? So this is one simple example. So whenever I'm going to develop any kind of application, so firstly you need to declare the variables. So data type, they determine the memory required to store that variable. For example, I have a variable called count and what is the data type here? It is of integer data type. For example, I want to store the count name. This is my variable name. Or I want to store some age values or I want to store some other type of value. So I can go for different types of variable names. Clear with this? So what do you mean by variables? So data type, so they are used to allocate memory. They are used to store the values. They are the variable types. They determine the memory required to store that variable. So this is what is called as variables. So firstly, I'm just giving you an introduction to core Java concepts and then I will be discussing all this in detail. So whenever you want to declare any variables, you have to give the data type followed by the variable name. So it is terminated by a semicolon. For example, this is the data type followed by the variable name. So variable names must be unique names. So what do you mean by identifiers? So unique names are called as identifiers. So variable names must be a unique name. So unique names are called as identifiers. Identifiers can be small names like A and B or some other name. It provides information about what that variable contains. For example, all this are called as identifiers. So from the name of the variable, so I can just understand. So what that variable contains. For example, I want to know total sum. So by seeing this variable name, so I can understand it is going to store the total sum. It is prepended by the integer data type. And whenever I want to store some other value, so I'm having the string data type followed by color variable name equal to within double quotes. I'm just giving here as red. Clear with this? So what do you mean by identifiers? So whenever I am developing some bigger applications in order to improve the readability of my entire program, so I can go for this identifiers in Java. So variable names must be some unique names. Unique names are called as identifiers. So identifiers can be small names like A and B or it can be some other name. It provides information about what that variable contains. For example, you can consider this example. Total sum, it is prepended by the integer data type. So string color, for example, whenever I want to store some color values, you can just, it is prepended by the string data type. So from the name of the variable, you can understand. So it uniquely identifies what type of value that variable is holding. So total sum, so I am just giving it is prepended by integer data type equal to 60. And string color equal to within double quotes, I am just giving here as red. Clear with this? So I am just giving you some basic examples. So I have already downloaded my NetBeans IDE. I am having my JDK and JRE. So let me just show you this NetBeans IDE. So I'm going to show you some variable examples so that you will understand this better. So let me just show you a simple example of this. So whenever you want to declare any, so I am just developing a new 1 minute. So whenever you want to declare any, so I am just developing. Am I audible now? Am I audible now? So whenever you want to. Am I audible now? Yeah, so let me just continue. So I was discussing with you about different types. So whenever I want to create any new class, So I have to use the class keyword followed by the name of the class. Am I audible now? So for example, I am just defining a class called first example. It is prepended by the public access modifier. So I am going to discuss with you about different types of access modifiers as well. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So inside this, whenever I want to declare any variable, so I am going to discuss with you about some variable examples. So always my program execution starts from the main method. So public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array, string of space args. And inside this, the JVM comes in. As I was telling you, right, Java virtual machine comes in. The program execution always starts from the main method. So whenever I want to declare a main method, so this is how I am just declaring a main method. Public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So for example, I am just initializing a variable as 10. And whenever I want to print something at my console, so I am just giving here as system.out.println. For example, I want to print this I variable at the output. So whenever I want to print something at my console, so this is my system.out.println. So what is the syntax for initializing any variable? So int I equal to 10. Whenever I want to declare this integer variable, so I am just giving the corresponding initialization statement. So int I equal to 10. And whenever I want to print something at my console, so system.out.println, so I will be printed at the output. Clear with this? So this is one sample declaration. So how I am defining a class. So whenever I want to define any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. And inside this, whenever I want to write a main method, so I am just giving here public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array, string of space args. And inside this, I am just initializing a variable. So whenever I want to initialize any variable, so I am just giving here as int I equal to 10. So I can declare integer variable. So this is how I have to declare any variable. So whenever I want to declare any variable, so I am giving the data type followed by the name of the variable. So I am just initializing the variable with some value. So just right click and then I am giving here as run file. And you can see here whatever value is stored in my variable. So this will be displayed at my console. Clear with this? So this is one simple example of variable initialization. So whenever I want to write any kind of Java coding, so always my program execution starts from the main method. So I am just giving here as public static void main string of space args. The argument is passed as a string array. So the JVM comes in, always the program execution starts from the main method. And inside this, I am just initializing the variable int I equal to 10. And whenever I want to print something at my console, so I am just giving here as system.out.println. Clear with this? So I just gave you some simple example of variable initialization. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any doubts so far? If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and you can register for Java Full Stack Masterclass program JFSMC3. So once you are going to register for this internship, so you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. So once you are going to attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate, and the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and you can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program, JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate, and the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. Alright, so till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. So far I just gave you some introduction to Java. So what do you mean by variables? So next I'm going to discuss with you about identifiers. So what do you mean by identifiers? From the name you can just understand. As the size of my application is going to grow, so in order to improve the readability of my application, so I have to go for this Java identifiers. So identifiers are unique names. So it provides some information about what that variable contains. So it uniquely identifies. So in order to improve the readability of my application, so whenever I'm going to develop some bigger web applications, so from the name you can just understand. So in total sum equal to 60. So it contains the total sum amount. It is prepended by the integer data type. So string color equal to red. For example, I am just initializing the color value as red. It is prepended by the string data type. Clear with this? So what do you mean by identifier? So it uniquely identifies what that variable contains. So identifiers are unique names. For example, whenever I am storing the age of the employee or the age of the customer, name of the customer, so accordingly I have to give the unique identifiers, unique names. So next I'm going to discuss with you about data types in Java. So what are the different data types available in Java? So what do you mean by a data type? So whenever I'm going to initialize any variable, so I should know what type of value that variable is going to hold. So accordingly, I can go for different data types available in Java language. So whenever I'm going to store some whole number values, it is prepended by integer data type. Or whenever I want to store some decimal point numbers, it is prepended by floating point type, character data type. So all these are the different data types available in Java language. Yes, Yadav? Without access modifiers, you can write. If you are having some problem with the installation, you can just mail me your doubts. Alright. So you can just mail me or you can post your doubts in the Facebook link. Yes, you can write code without access modifiers. Clear with this? So I am discussing with you about different data types available in Java. So all these are the different data types. So whenever I want to store some whole number values, I can go for integer data types. And whenever I want to store some floating point numbers, I have to prepend by floating data type. And whenever I want to store some character constant, so it is prepended by char data type. And whenever I want to store some string value, so it is prepended by string data type. So all these are the different data types available in Java language. So basically I have two different data types in Java. One is primitive data type and one more is non-primitive data type. So byte, short, int, long, float, double. So all this comes under primitive data type, and non-primitive data type, string, arrays and classes. So all this comes under non-primitive data type. Clear with this? So just take down this exercise. Write a program that concatenates two strings and displays the result to the screen. Which one you are not able to understand, Mukherjee? Which one you are not able to understand? So just take down this exercise. If you are having some doubts, you can just mail me. Yeah, once you register for internship, you will be receiving all my PPTs and everything. You want me to, that is, repeat the installation process? Yes, I will just repeat my installation process. You just try out with this. NetBeans installation, just go to Google. You can just download. Just give here as NetBeans download. So once you give here as NetBeans download for Windows, so you can just see here. For example, I'm just giving here as NetBeans download for Windows. So once you give here as NetBeans download, so there is a download option. So once you click this button, you can download NetBeans 8.2 and you can just start using them. Clear with this? And if you want, you can download JDK and JRE as well. Just go to Google. So once you want to use this NetBeans IDE, just type JDK download. JDK 1.8 download. So you can download JDK from Oracle's SC. And if you want to download JRE, so just give here as JRE 1.8 download. Clear with this? So you can download JDK and JRE and you can just start using them. So clear with the installation procedure. Till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. So any queries? With this, I am just stopping today. Tomorrow, I will be discussing with you about class and objects in Java. So any queries in today's topic? Today, I just gave you some introduction to Java. What do you mean by Java? So why I have to go for this programming language? So what are the different reasons to learn this programming language? So everything I am using NetBeans IDE. So any more queries? Yes, you have to download JRE separately. Harshit? Alright then. So if everything is clear, remaining things we will see tomorrow. Same time, same link. Thank you all.